twin brothers find a toy monkey drummer among the belongings left by their father. Soon after, they encounter a series of nightmarish deaths. The film begins in 1999, in a pawn shop full of antiques and artifacts. A man in a bloodied pilot uniform brings in a wind-up monkey playing a drum, claiming his sons didn't like it. However, the shop owner refuses to take it back. Returns of toys are forbidden, as stated on a sign. On top of that, the monkey is broken. Its paw with the drumstick is raised. As if offended, the monkey starts drumming, scaring the pilot, then freezes again with its paw raised. Meanwhile, a saboteur rat gnaws through a taut rope holding a spear. The spear falls onto a mannequin with a loaded crossbow, causing a bolt on a string to shoot into the shopkeeper's stomach. The monkey delivers one final beat, and the bolt jerks back into place, dragging the seller's guts with it. The captain grabs a flamethrower hanging on the wall, storms out with the toy, and unleashes a stream of fire. The face of the sinister monkey melts, and the story shifts to the pilot's son, Hal. Hal and his twin brother Bill are raised by their single mother, Lois, a big fan of dancing and philosophy. She explains that their father used to bring back souvenirs from his trips before going out for cigarettes and never returning. In a way, that was his attempt to save them. Bill often mocks Hal, making him so angry he once considers dropping a bowling ball on his brother's head. One day, they sneak into a closet packed with treasures. Among the trinkets and the captain's uniform, the boys find a box labeled Organ Grinder Monkey. Inside is the monkey. Bill notices a key sticking out of its back and, unaware of its dangerous power, winds it up. The demonic monkey grins, then raises its arm and twirls the stick, but nothing else happens. Losing interest, Bill gives the toy to his younger brother and goes off with their father's cards. Soon the boys are picked up by their nanny Annie. As they get in the car, Hal sees the monkey on the seat, but says nothing. Annie drives them to a Chinese restaurant where the food is cooked in front of guests. While the nanny flirts with the chef, the monkey in the car winds itself up and starts beating its drum. With the final beat, the chef makes a sweeping motion with his knife, and a bloody line appears on Annie's neck. Her head falls onto the grill right in front of the shocked diners. At Annie's funeral, a young priest reminds everyone that all things happen according to God's will. Everyone dies, but the trouble is, death often comes suddenly. After the service, their mother cheers up the boys with a philosophical musing. Everyone dies, some sooner, some later. Then they go out dancing. Despite the funeral, Hal will remember that day as one of the happiest of his life. At school, Hal is bullied by a gang of mean girls who hang out with his brother. They corner him in the bathroom and pull down his pants, sending him home in just his underwear. At home, Hal sees the monkey in his room, though no one brought it there. That night, he asks the toy if it was the one that killed the nanny. Bill wakes up and mocks him, threatening him with violence. At school, the girls spot the monkey in Hal's backpack. During recess, the gang brings boxes of bananas and dumps them all over him. Returning home covered in trash, Hal begs the monkey to kill Bill, who set the bullies on him. He winds up the toy, and it raises its paw, ready for action. When Bill returns, the sinister toy starts drumming. In the kitchen, he speaks to their mother, who suddenly collapses, hitting her head on the table. Officially, Lois died of an aneurysm, but Hal firmly believes the monkey killed her. At the funeral, Uncle Chip and Aunt Ida arrive to take custody of the twins. During the memorial, Bill tells the pastor to shut up and begs their dead mom to wake up, but the miracle doesn't happen. That night, Hal gets up with a hidden cleaver. He grabs the monkey and chops it into tiny pieces, surprised by the oil leaking out, so much like blood, and throws it in the trash. The relatives move the twins to the town of Casco, Maine. There, Bill keeps wearing his funeral suit, fearing that if he takes it off, someone else will die. One evening, Bill sees the monkey drummer outside the window. He asks his brother why he brought the toy, but Hal swears he chopped it to bits. Believing the toy is cursed, Bill suggests testing the theory and winds it up. As a result, Uncle Chip dies. While peacefully resting in a sleeping bag during a hunting trip, a herd of 67 horses tramples over him. Not a single part of him remains untouched. With their theory confirmed, the brothers toss the plastic musician into an empty well, hoping no one will ever find it. 25 years pass. Widowed Aunt Ida hears a suspicious rustling in the middle of the night. Grabbing a revolver, she heads to the basement to check, but everything is quiet. As she climbs back up, she falls through the rotted steps straight into a box of fishing hooks. While treating her wounds, she smells gas. She checks the stove, which suddenly flares up, setting her hair on fire. Panicking, she runs outside, steps into a flower pot, stumbles further, and slams into a for sale signpost. Hal no longer speaks to his brother and works as a store clerk. He avoids making friends, fearing the cursed primate will return. Even with his son Petey, he only meets once a year, taking time off work for it. His ex-wife and her new husband inform him that they're finalizing Petey's adoption, freeing Hal from fatherhood. Their only request is for Hal to spend one final week with the boy while the paperwork is processed and help with a school project, building a family tree. In Casco, local misfit Ricky shows up at Aunt Ida's estate sale. He's drawn to a monkey drummer that stirs childhood memories. His father left when he was young. Hal takes his son to an amusement park. They stop overnight at a motel and talk. Petey asks about family, and Hal says there's no one left. That night, Hal has a nightmare about the childhood monkey. It grabs him with a giant paw and slices him up with a cleaver. Waking up, he notices the word hello on the air conditioner display instead of the temperature and switches it. Then a call comes from the brother he hasn't spoken to in years. Hal steps outside the motel room to talk. Bill informs him that Aunt Ida has died and named Hal her heir. He needs to come to Casco to make sure the monkey hasn't come back. After the call, Hal is nearly crushed by the air conditioner falling from the roof. The power cable snakes through spilled water straight toward the pool where a young woman is about to dive. Hal doesn't manage to warn her, and she's torn to pieces by a massive electric shock, nearly knocking him off his feet. Waking Petey, Hal rushes to drive his son back home. However, Petey persuades him to take him to Maine, wanting to ask about Grandma Lois. Hal drifts into a memory of his mother, who begs him not to kill everyone around him and bleeds from her eyes. He wakes up from the nightmare in their motel room. Then he and his son head to Aunt Ida's house, where they meet the realtor Barbara. From her, the boy learns that his father lied. He did have an aunt and a brother. Hal and Barbara go inside to look through the remaining belongings. On the way, the woman mentions that the town is in the grip of a bizarre death epidemic. Someone was scalded with boiling water, someone got caught in a lawnmower, and someone else was bitten by the only cobra in the entire state of Maine. Hal suspects the monkey is still spreading death. When Barbara opens a locked closet, a hunting rifle falls out. A stray shot blows the realtor to pieces. Hal calls the police and explains what happened. The officer tells him not to leave town. Then the landline rings. It's Bill. He tells Hal to wait for a call at the motel. Hal suspects his brother is already in town. He checks the phone book for Bill's name, but finds nothing. Thinking for a moment, he searches for monkey and finds a match. Calling the number, Hal hears his brother's voice on the answering machine, saying he's found what he was looking for. The story switches to Bill and his memories. After they had thrown the monkey into the well, he secretly came back for it, but all that remained was the wind-up key, a thin hint that the hellish drummer would return. For years, Bill searched for the toy until he received a message in a fortune cookie. Breaking into his sleeping aunt's house, Bill stole his childhood funeral suit and altered it to show the monkey he was ready for more deaths. After learning about the garage sale, he sent the misfit, Ricky, who brought the toy back to him. Burning with anticipation, Bill winds up the monkey for the first time in 25 years. The first victim is Hal's boss, who steps on a rake and swallows his vape. The memory is interrupted by a knock at the door. It's Ricky. The guy has fallen under the monkey's devilish charm and wants it back, saying it reminds him of his father. But Bill refuses, so the misfit heads home, puts on his father's police uniform, and grabs his revolver. On the way to the motel, Petey asks his dad if he's ever killed anyone. He can't stop thinking about the incident with the realtor. Hal hesitates, raising suspicion, but denies being involved. Once at the motel, Hal calls his brother to ask if he has the monkey. Bill admits he does and says he's been winding it up too often. Now he needs someone else to take over. He wants Hal to bring his nephew. To get his son to come, Bill reveals there's a family curse passed down from their father. Their conversation is interrupted by a knock at the door. It's not the police, but Ricky. Waving a pistol, he takes the father and son hostage and orders them to drive to Bill's hideout in a telephone company building. There, the fake cop tells Petey to go inside and bring out the monkey. As the boy steps out of the car, Hal warns him not to wind the toy under any circumstances. Climbing through the doggy door, the teenager wanders through the building. He narrowly avoids several traps set by Bill. An axe nearly misses him. A wire almost snaps. Upstairs, the boy finds his father's twin brother talking to the toy monkey. Excited, the uncle asks the boy to turn the key, which he does despite his father's warning. The monkey grins and raises its stick. Back in the car, Ricky and Hal notice a wasp nest in front of the vehicle. Trying to scratch his head with a pistol, Ricky accidentally fires the gun. The bullet shatters the window and hits the hive. A swarm of wasps streams directly into Ricky's mouth and begins eating him from the inside out. After this, Bill grabs the monkey and lifts its arm to make it hit the drum again, aiming to kill his brother. But the monkey only has enough strength to fling him across the room. Lying on the floor, Bill stares into the toy's eyes as it starts drumming faster and faster, until the stick freezes right before the final strike. Looking out the window, Bill sees the entire town in flames, with a plane crashing from the sky. Then, 2 corpses crash through the ceiling, including a bride still strapped to her parachute. Hal and his son burst into the room. Hal demands to know why his brother ever played with the cursed toy, risking everyone's lives. Bill confesses that he wanted revenge for their mother. It turns out he always knew that her death was caused by Hal winding up the monkey as a child in an attempt to kill him. Hal says Lois was his mother too, and he never wanted her dead, but playing with forces as powerful as death is foolish, because you can't control them. Bill makes a few sarcastic remarks, but eventually shakes his brother's outstretched hand. The reunited family prepares to leave the building when the monkey delivers one final strike. One of Bill's own traps activates, and a bowling ball, their mother's, crashes down, decapitating him. Hal and Petey drive through the town, where signs of the drummer's latest attack are everywhere. Bodies, fires, and destruction. They take the monkey with them, deciding to keep it far from humanity. Stopping at an intersection, Hal sees a pale rider pass by wreathed in smoke, with pitch-black eyes, the embodiment of death itself. They nod to each other in silent understanding. When the light turns green, the car moves forward. Into frame rolls a bus full of cheerful cheerleaders, hanging out the windows. A passing truck slams into them, taking off their heads, and that's where the movie ends.